It is a human nature of keeping things or keeping various things into groups. You can take the examples of your books in your room. Well, you would keep your books of literature on one side, the books of physics on other side, and the books of mathematics on other side. You can also take the example of your kitchen. In your kitchen, you would keep the forks and knives on one side, the toaster or the griller on the other side, which would be near to the switch, of course. You would keep the refrigerator on the other side. You can also take the examples of shops and departmental stores. They all keep the things into groups. The soaps would be in the soap section, the detergents would be in the detergent section, the cookies or biscuits would be on that section, right? Well, this human nature of keeping or sorting the things into groups has also been applicable to elements. How? Watch this video complete. Hey viewers, this is Devinder Kaur and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Enlightened Room. The earliest attempt to classify or sort out the elements into groups was made by Lavoisier. What he did? He classified or divided the elements which were known in his time into metals and non-metals. After that, John Dalton in 1808, who was an English school teacher, came out with his theory which was named as atomic theory. In his theory, he said that atoms of one element can be distinguished with the atoms of another element on the basis of their atomic masses or atomic weights. Well, after that, not all the theories, but the earlier attempts which were made to classify the atoms or classify the elements into groups were completely based on the atomic masses or atomic weights of the elements. The earliest attempt till now known to classify the elements into groups based on the atomic masses was made by de Bruyne. In his theory, or you can say in his classification of elements into groups, he made triads. In these triads, he took the elements into groups, and in each group there would be 3 elements. And there's a formula for that, there's a trick for that. What it is, the atomic mass of first element, we will take the atomic mass of first element and the atomic mass of third element in each group. Let's take 39.0, and we would take the average of the first and third element, the atomic mass of first and third element, and the average of these two atomic masses would be nearly equal to the atomic mass of second or the middle one element. So the atomic mass of this one is nearly equal to 22.9 atomic mass units. Okay, now not just these elements were based on the atomic masses, were sorted out on the basis of atomic masses, but their properties also resembled. Now these 3 elements have the valency of +1. Okay, now these 3 elements are also the alkali metals. These are alkali metals. Similarly, in the second group we have calcium, strontium and barium. We would take the atomic mass of calcium and the atomic mass of barium, which is 137.3, and we would take the average, and the average of these 2 elements would be nearly equal to the second one, that means 88.9, I guess. If I'm wrong, then let me know. Okay, now let's move on to now one more thing for this. The valency of these 3 elements is +2, and these 3 elements are known as alkaline earth metals. Now let's move on to these 3 elements. The first element is chlorine, whose atomic mass is 35.5 atomic mass unit, and then we have iodine, whose atomic mass is 126.9 atomic mass unit, and we will take the average of these 2 atomic masses and we will get it nearly equal to 81.5 atomic mass unit. Okay, now these are actually nearly equal to each other, right? And now in this group, what we have, the valency of this whole group is -1. Okay, and these are known as halogens. Now what these halogens are? Halogens means these elements would react with water to make salt. So halo means salt here. Halo means salt here, and the genes would mean the producing, salt producing. These elements are salt producing. Now you all can see the incredible attempt of Dobereiner in his triads. But these triads had some limitations. Well, at the time of Dobereiner, only 33 elements were known. You can say about 33 elements were known. But after his theory, some more elements get to know to the people. And these elements could not be fit into the triads. How? Now, as we are talking about the halogens, there is one more halogen, which is fluorine. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, these four are known as halogens. Okay. If we try to make a triad of these three, the formula of taking the average of first element and third element, and the atomic mass of first element and third element, it would not match with their chlorine. Okay. Also, in case of this one was for the table of earlier elements. When we get to know about the higher elements, we get to study it deeply. What we found, let's take the atomic mass of nitrogen, then the atomic mass of arsenic is 74.9. Okay, when we will take the average of these two elements, and we will get 44.9 atomic mass unit, which is not near to the atomic mass of phosphorus. Now this made a contradiction to his theory, and it was not applicable to the newer elements. It was not applicable when we go down the table, we get to study them. It was not applicable. So these were the limitations of Dobereiner's triads. In spite of the resemblance of the chemical properties, these triads were not applicable. You can take the example of fluorine, chlorine, bromine. You can take the example of this one, nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic. These triads, the formula he gave was not applicable when we try to go down the table and try to calculate the formula. So which made his theory a failure. Well, after that, Newland came, and we would study about it in the next video. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet. Thank you so much.